Ooh, a homecoming for the GOAT. Gronk is still hurt, and we're giving thanks to be Patriots fans on this Thanksgiving edition of Patriots Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Beastie Boys. It's been a while.
Showing a little gratitude
Heck yeah, buddy. Great tune.
on this Thanksgiving Day week.
Plenty to be grateful for in Pat's Nation.
Yeah, I mean, the Pats bringing home a W, their first in 3 weeks.
We'll take it.
Going to the Bay Area to get it.
We'll take it.
Little homecoming for the GOAT, number 12, TB12, Tom Brady, and number 11, Julian Edelman.
Getting it done.
That is. Gang, thanks for dropping in on us on our weekly discussion of all things Patriots. Who's in the house tonight? D-House, why don't you say who you are and how they get in touch with you and all that jazz?
Sure thing, Mike. Name's Dennis Harris. You can find me on the Twitter sphere at Deehaas, Deehaas. Deehaas. Speaking of those homecoming heroes, it seemed like he might have been forcing the ball to Jules. Do you think that was padding the stats, or was that like
that might be the case. Like going into the game, and then Jules gets the first touchdown. It's like,
I mean, he just wouldn't stop feeding him.
there was. I mean, a lot of it was kind of game plan dependent too. It seemed like they had come into they being the 49ers kind of come into the week hearing all the whispers of how they can't stop the run.
Right.
And they were just determined, seeing everybody in the league getting, suffering blunt force trauma
Right.
on a weekly basis. They're like, oh my word, this, machine of a running back is going to
Must be
come run
stopped.
over us. He must be stopped. So it was a lot of 8-man boxes,
Right.
some 9-man boxes. So I think it was just kind of getting it out there, spread the field. And, he didn't have the big Sasquatch out at tight end.
He didn't. He
You
did
know?
not. Yeah, I mean, the one knock, we're always nitpicking, looking for things to, analyze and complain about.
Finalize, I believe.
There it is, finalysis. But,
Finalysis.
yeah, I mean, without 87 there, I mean, we've seen plenty of periods where, if Jules isn't around, we see him forcing it to 8-7. But definitely the first, a bit of a tale of two halves in this game. And I definitely was getting worried there for a bit. It seemed like he was really kind of just zoning in on Jules.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of like, Bill always talks about how teams are starting to take shape here once kind of Thanksgiving. You're kind of finding out the team that you are,
Right.
And as Jules said in his post game with Prime, I think he was like, "This is when the real football happens after Thanksgiving."
Oh, yeah.
And all that stuff. But it seems like they're showing up as a team. If you were to describe them, is like they kind of feel out their opponents a little bit in the first half,
Take a
and
few
then-
shots.
and then make some good halftime adjustments as you expect from the best coaching staff in football.
Yes, sir.
And make those good adjustments, and then kind of have a better second half and blow teams out. And it's like it's not a bad image to have,
Right.
but it is like you are kind of playing down some of your competition a little bit in these first halves. I mean, 13-10 game at the half. With the Niners.
Yeah, it was. I was a bit worried. I mean, the defense certainly has looked vulnerable and definitely looked vulnerable in that game at times.
Yeah, and it seems like maybe there's a few doghouses going on out there. I mean, Jabal Sheard, my boy,
Yeah, that's still another head scratcher. We haven't
didn't
really
make
got
the trip.
Yeah.
Healthy scratch.
So there's definitely some tinkering going on, and it seems like not all of it is maybe on the field related. I'm not sure what's going on, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely good and bad. Belichick's, I don't know if we've dissected this on air at all, but the strategy when it comes to, dealing with the media and keeping them in the dark, you wonder if that carries over to the team, does it have the potential to sort of cause some mini rifts?
I don't see that happening. I mean, that's spilling over the team. That's strictly reserved for the media types. In fact, Bill actually...
You think he's an open book when the doors are closed?
Well, it was interesting because he got kind of like once the wise-ass dude in the press conference just asked him about the butt fumble. I don't know who it is, but his voice is very familiar, and like he kind of sets it up in a way where, and you hear the voice, it's like
He knows he's.
oh, this is gonna be a wise ass comment, you
Yeah.
know. And he was like asking like, hey, do you have any need to review the butt fumble or something like this?
Yeah.
He's just like dismissed him. But after that, dude, went like some other people asked him about kind of like the captains and sitting in on captains meetings and positional meetings, and you know, he really kind of went for a while talking about how he disseminates information to the rest of the team, you know, through the captains and stuff like that, because he can't like, you know, meet with every guy on a weekly basis and stuff like that. But I thought it was actually pretty. I mean, in between all the I'm not going to give you shit talk, he sometimes slips into
If you push
this,
the right button, if you ask him about X's and O's or
I think if you
historical
follow
stuff,
the wise ass guy asking the questions, you have a chance of getting like
a bit
if you
more
ask
leeway.
anything that's like remotely a football question, you have a chance that Bill's going to go in depth. So it's always nice to see him kind of actually
share
and actually answer a question.
right.
That's put
very
forth.
true, man.
But I mean, I think that this
just-
guy's been doing it for so long, has had so much success. I think that the teams that have that sustained success, consistent success, have that because of there is no communication issues. I mean, that's the key.
You'd think so, and certainly the results speak for themselves. I'm just thinking, you know, if you're a guy 3 weeks ago who's, you know, you're pals with Jamie Collins, and now all of a sudden he gets shipped out. If there's not more discussion behind closed doors, I would think there's a decent chance you're going to be rubbing some people the wrong way. If there's no, you know, if all you're left with is the same questions that we're left with as fans, you have to imagine might be a couple angered dudes, but I have a suspicion that they might have a better sense of what was going on than we do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And then, like, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be squashed by the veteran presidents that's in that. Like, if there is, like, that's not on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, Ninkovich and Devin McCourty are just going to squash that shit. You know, it's like, okay, this is the way he does things. Maybe it hurt your feelings. Maybe you lost your buddy.
Right.
But, you know, I'm wearing a few rings because of this guy. You know, or one ring in those guys' case, but hopefully they'll get another one before they get out of here. But do I have to bring Teddy Bruschi in here with his three?
Come on in, Teddy.
So you have to show it in your mug?
In your mug, kid. In your mug.
Yes.
Be that as it may.
Be that as it may.
Second half was definitely a better showing across the board. Also, even, you know, at their most vulnerable against, you know, the 49ers, even in the first half, you know, starting off the game, they looked vulnerable, but they did, as they've tended to do, you know, good seasons and bad, they did clamp down. They had a good goal line stance there.
They did. They
Or
got
red
off to
zone
such a
stance.
good start. You know, they did their usual deferring to the second half, you know, so they kicked off to them. Then they get a 3-and-out. Bingo, bango. There's been a lot of, you know, knock put on this defense because they can't get after the quarterback. They get a sack on that first 3-and-out. Old Patty Chung comes in, grabs an ankle.
That was big.
Goes
Yeah,
in
that was
that was huge.
Yeah, they sent him on the old blitz,
And what
which
they
is
have,
rare.
5 sacks? Something like
We looked
that?
that up. Yeah, they had a couple. I know Van Noy came in with a sack.
Van
It's
Noy
kind of
is
nice.
his first game time as a Patriot.
Yeah, it was nice to see him making his presence felt right out of the gate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, you know, they're still kind of feeling out who's going to be in there at linebacker, you know, because our boy Landon, you know, for as good as he is versus as a downhill hole filler against the run.
Kind of like
It's
the
a little
Brandon
suspect.
Spikes type of role, you know, where you have that thumper,
Yeah,
but he's not necessarily going to give you
gets
3
exposed
downs.
in coverage.
Yes, 5 sacks on the day.
So that's pretty good.
Not bad.
And they got him in that 3-and-out. And then, you know, unsung hero of the team, Danny Amendola, gets him in great position with that punt return.
That was great, yeah.
You know?
I was waiting for the holding call or something to pull that one back.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
nice to get away with one.
But
It's so rare to get away with one these days, you know?
Yeah, this is true.
As soon as you round that corner.
I mean, you can call a holding call on every play. Like
pretty
I
dang
said.
true. Just keep it within the shoulder pads and you'll be all right.
There you go. There you go. Gang, thanks for listening to us. This is our weekly Relevance discussion on all things Patriots. Patriots Wrap 360. He's Denny Harris. I'm Mike Conley. Thanks for dropping in on us. If you do want to stir said Relevance discussion in a different direction, you can do that by jumping on the YouTube live chat page and just shooting us a question in there. We're monitoring that. Or you can hit up Dehas at Dehas on his Twitter. And, you know, if you're not following along live, you look during the week, hit us up in the comment section of the YouTube. You know, let us know if we're doing a good job, bad job. You want us to talk about something else next week, we would love to do that. So let's get an update on Tom Brady's shiniest of all his toys, Mr. Rob Gronkowski. There were reports that he wasn't going to practice today, but he did end up practicing on a limited basis.
He did, yeah. So that's a good sign. Question
It's kind
mark.
of a step in the right direction, because there was kind of like the reports I was hearing earlier today where it doesn't look. It looks like he's going to be a no-go for the Jet game.
Right.
But him even showing up limited practice today, that means that might not be the case.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it shakes out. They definitely seem to handle that dude with kid gloves.
And I think that's rightly so. And, like, much like the beginning of the year where we didn't want him to be rushed back, until Brady got back anyway.
Right.
Some interesting stats I heard today, because these guys are such a prolific tandem. Old
That they are.
Tommy B, TB12's quarterback rating in the red zone since 2010 with Gronk on the field, 91 quarterback rating.
Pretty solid.
Without Gronk on the field, that plummets to 57.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a big disparity there to have that.
That is a big disparity.
Gigantic creature with the biggest, catching radius in the league out there to snag some passes for you. And a lot of people like, yours truly in Daily Fantasy might have thought that was going to be an uptick for old Marty B. But it seemed like he was blocking a lot.
He was in fact blocking a lot.
Yeah.
And when he wasn't blocking, until I think he had ended up with let's see, I think I got it in front of me. Yeah, just that one catch for 14 yards, and
yeah.
I think maybe just targeted one other time. So
Yeah.
I did see him getting smothered a couple times, but I was surprised to see that as well. And he didn't.
That could also be kind of, dependent on like what we talked earlier about the aforementioned 8 or 9 man box. That could be a situation where,
Yeah.
he's brought in to pass protect in those instances or block for the run.
Absolutely. And, not to mention with the injuries on the O-line that have been, Seabass is now, he got shipped over to the IR.
Oh, the full
as of
season
today.
IR, so we're not getting him back.
It's a wrap on him, and there's speculation that might be a wrap on his Patriots career. They're, just early talk.
Really?
There's some folks that think that might be.
That's it.
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
He's been I've enjoyed his presence on the squad.
he seems to, have a quiet way about him. Both of our tackles, I think, kind of fit that.
Yeah.
But they seem to like get a adequate job done.
Certainly,
neither one of them is going to be confused with Bruce Armstrong.
That's for sure.
But
I definitely, if I had to choose of the two, I'd be more in the Vollmer camp
yeah,
than the Solder camp.
he had that one bad series there in the second quarter where he had the touchdown call back on a holding that he
Yikes.
held,
Yeah.
and then he had like a false start.
Yeah, it wasn't doing so good out
It
there.
was not his finest hour.
One thing I noticed, kind of rando comment, but Andrews, you could really, I don't know if
You're in the right place for rando comments.
Rando Calrissian. You could really hear David Andrews hollering. Kind of, you could just hear the communication during that game. I don't know if you picked up on
Yes.
that as well.
I
like
love
that.
offensive line.
Yeah, I love that too. I like that you could just hear him being vocal, and some of the young guns on the O line. Between Tooney and Andrews,
Yeah.
and I
Shaq Mason's a second-year guy.
On running plays, you see that dude getting down. I mean, that was the story on him too, but you see him getting downfield and blowing some dudes up, which is kind of nice to see. The athleticism.
It's interesting you bring that out, blowing people up downfield as offensive linemen. But there was a play in the game, and actually Trent Green kind of commented on it. It was actually some pretty good color commentary out of Trent.
Rare.
Yeah, it was a little bit rare. But he was saying how good job on the Pats lineman for not getting down that field. Do you remember that play? I think it was in the second quarter. That was like a screen to Lewis that Brady just pumped once, pumped twice, and then finally got it to him.
Yeah.
And that was that's
Which brings
amazing.
up the point as well. The return of D-Lou as well. Old Dion.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
But I mean, I thought we had to have our weekly,
line
stroke
talk.
job of Dante Skyneck.
Yeah, I
Now
mean,
coming back
definitely
another
his angle for consistency has been paying off. I mean, there at least.
Yeah.
May not be his first choices out there at this stage at some of those spots, but definitely been more consistent
Definitely.
across the board.
But yeah, Dion Lewis back is awesome. I mean, didn't take long to, have his presence felt on
yeah.
that first series. He converted a third down with a little
Shaking and
shimmy
baking.
shake,
Yeah,
leaving a dude. It's like, oh man,
It's exciting.
and then there's like, there was a time out there with a few plays where what's his name was out there, the other short back, James
White.
James White,
Yeah.
and Dion Lewis is out there,
Yeah.
and it's like Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman.
Right.
It's like all my under 5'10" and under weapons. It's like, my name's Tom Brady. I'm the mayor of Munchkinland.
Right.
And we're here to hang 35 on you.
Get these guys in open space,
it's
baby.
like, boom. And, you could tell it was a little extra pep in old 11 step, him being,
No
a
question.
Redwood City boy. And, I think
question.
he said he had to get 35 tickets for the game. So
They went to him early and often, that's for sure. 17 targets on the day for Jules.
And what did he end up with? Like 9 catches?
8 catches, 77 yards, 1 TD. Yeah, I did think there was one play. I'm trying to recall what it was. Looking back through my notes, there was one of the big runs for LeGarrette. Not the one that got called back, but on one of LG's biggest runs of the day, Malcolm Mitchell downfield with earning some Tommy points, getting a big block. And that, to me, I thought that turned some heads. And then, he had the one reception, and then he had the huge, kind of had a clutch. I think it was a third down conversion before the big TD, which was just a thing of beauty.
Huge.
Brady just dropping that thing in there.
We, on this program, we've been much anticipating his breakout game. We finally got it.
There it was. Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of shocking.
Hogan
Perhaps
out
the Patriots have actually drafted a serviceable wide receiver.
it's bananas looking at the list this week because it came up after that. After seeing some success, just looking back at all
Looking back.
the Chad Jacksons and the
Oof.
so many.
Oof.
The list is long. Bethel Johnson, Chad Jackson.
But for every one of those, there's 2 good defensive players.
This is true. This
That's
is
what
true.
we got to hang on to,
This is true. Speaking of needing defensive players,
Are you talking some Alan Branch on me right now? Or you
Alan Branch potentially. I'm not sure if it was synthetic or the real
the
deal.
real
but,
deal.
I mean, he's like, hey, this stuff was just legalized.
He was celebrating.
I'm gonna partake.
He's like, I live in Massachusetts.
Hey,
We just passed it.
I'm a
I'm
citizen.
going to have a joint.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Allegedly, he's
Still illegal in the
appealing
NFL.
it right now, and he was at practice today. So
Here's the deal with those appeals. I mean, just take the suspension, get it over with, right? We're 8-2,
4 games.
4-game rip. I mean, you have been a great
He's been
contributor.
He's been huge.
most consistent guy in that interior defensive line.
I believe Hightower called him the MVP of the defense.
I like that.
Hightower definitely one of the main beneficiaries out there, scooping up the tackles.
The guy whose nickname is High is speaking fondly of the guy whose highness just got him a 4-game rip.
Your Highness.
I know. But yeah, interesting. But he will appeal, because I don't want a situation where he appeals it. Oh, guess what? We heard your appeal. Now you're out.
Right.
Game 16, week 16, week 17, and 2 in the playoffs.
Right.
You know,
Well, usually
That's
it will
garbage.
get buttoned up faster than that, right? Typically.
you would hope, and maybe they wouldn't even. I don't know. Would they take playoff games away from a guy? That would just seem so.
It would just be wrong for
I
a
mean, for
drug that's
for
now legal.
weed infraction, legal in 10 states.
Crazy. It's a crazy mixed up
I
world.
mean, like once I guess it becomes more the normalcy, and there's like green nug, weed cigarettes, or something where they can come
Right.
into the stadiums and put up a billboard and pay them,
That's what
millions
it's all
of dollars
about.
a year.
Money talks.
Exactly. So,
So-
once that happens,
I forget. I read it somewhere in the last
that
week or two,
green
but
will be accepted.
the NFLPA
Would you
has
wash
already
it down
started
this-
doing a little research on the.
The medical benefits
Yes.
and things like that. I
Yes.
mean, yeah.
Makes sense.
I
to
wonder
me.
what the medical benefits are. Not running and crashing your heads together. What is that?
Those are probably
those
fairly
studies.
high.
Those studies seem to be on hold a little bit.
Yeah, they're at least altered.
But it's like you listen to these guys, the guys that do that for a living. You're employees that you say you're trying to take care of because you're, all about player safety and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They say that for pain, this is what they like to take. It doesn't do as much harm to their stomach and stuff as some of the other stuff.
Yeah. Stuff they get shot up with or popping the pills. Who knows, Miguel?
Problem is, the right hands are getting greased with those pills.
This is true.
Not so much with the
Getting
joints.
political here on Pat's Wrap.
Yeah, we are. Let's get out of there.
USA, baby.
So yeah, terrific homecoming. I love seeing all the Tom Brady photos from when he was a wee lad. There was that one that kept showing him, and it was like mom's arms.
Oh yeah,
He's like about the
terrified.
ball. It's like,
yeah,
Dwight Clark's the catch, dude. You got to be elated.
You'd think so.
I think it was just past that time. One too many cotton
just
candies.
wanted a pretzel or something.
Yeah, he just was.
Dude, also great
having
the Julian Edelman highlights of his youth games. Just he had it back then, shaking dudes
bake,
off.
dude.
And, oh yeah,
He was wearing the 2-1
Yeah, that was awesome.
for Neon. That
Good
was
stuff.
great. Oh yeah, his stuff post game with Neon was great too.
good stuff.
So yeah, no big deal. Just another one for his mantle. AFC Offensive Player of the Week goes to TB12 Tom Brady. No big deal. Second of the year, 27th of his career. Not a big deal.
Tying Peyton Manning for the most in NFL history. Player of
Really?
the Weeks, yeah.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah.
The one thing the
Yeah.
Pats were stressing, a couple things this week, they were stressing get off to a good start, and they kind of did that. They had a little bit of that lull, that second quarter lull that they've been having and stuff. With those couple shoulder penalties that shot him in the foot and just like a couple sacks and whatnot. But they did kind of, they stopped them and then they scored a touchdown. So they did get off that good start, but also protecting the ball, no turnovers, and that was a big one.
It was.
So that's kind of, I'm sure something Bill, after the Seattle game, really drilled over their head. That's something that's got to be remedied, and they certainly did that. So that was good to see.
No question.
That was good to see.
Also good to see TB12 making it happen. Taking some plays, creating his own offense.
Dude.
And that was another area where, again, it's tale of two halves, but in that second half, Mitchell really, you like to see that kind of communicating on the fly, and the fact that he was able to be on the receiving end of a couple of those plays where Brady's ad-libbing, extending plays, and you
got to be able to do that when your quarterback does it, especially when it's the goat back there lumbering around. But
absolutely,
it seems like good on him. I mean, the guy goes, this is how you get to be great. You don't settle for being great. You have to improve yourself every year, every offseason. There's something you worked on. It certainly looks like maybe on his extended offseason this year, he was working on some of his mobilities and his escapabilities.
No question.
And he showed it a little bit this year. That touchdown to Amendola, he found him in the back of the end zone.
Beautiful thing.
He did that spin around. It's like anytime
that play was unbelievable.
That Belichick. Anytime Brady. He shouldn't ever have his back downfield. That's a play reserved for the Russell Wilsons of the world.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers.
With that one play he had in the game where he throws it across his body, across the field. Ridiculous. Off the back foot.
But anytime he comes through that and he's not annihilated and on the ground writhing in pain, I'm just like, oh, thank God.
That play to Amendola was unbelievable. It was like a fadeaway.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Amazing.
Ridiculous. But yeah, just to wrap it up on Mitchell, I just thought it was a huge game for him. He gets the opportunity with Hogan going down, getting more snaps, and helping out on those broken plays. Coming through, you get your number called, and he's contributed in a number of ways.
That block on the Blount play was huge.
Yeah, it's huge. So
that got him an extra 15 yards.
Absolutely.
Blocking downfield.
So it's all good stuff. I was bummed that the commentators didn't pick up immediately on the fact that was his first career TD. Also, it took him till after a commercial break to, you gotta get people fired up over that.
That was, I think we were on the CBS C squad.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
It was. What are you gonna?
They weren't firing on all cylinders too. Did you notice that? By the way, old Gumble
That's
was.
why the C squad.
Yeah.
Old Gumble to Gumble. That's what we need coming back. Huh?
Gumble to Gumble.
Huh?
Exactamundo.
Oh, Gumble to Gumble.
Yeah, happy about Malcolm though. Happy to see Dion back. I think all these weapons, and then Gronk, like you said, you got like can't be mad about the kid glove sitch. It'll be interesting to see if he plays this week. But
what's shocking to me is that especially if he's out this week, that he went back into that Seattle game.
right,
You know, and it's like if it's I mean they're being very dodgy about it, calling a chest injury, but then I've heard perforated lung thrown around.
yeah, I feel like those kinds of injuries are, that's one of those things where I'm all right, and maybe turns out you're bleeding internally, or it turns out your lung has a hole in it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little short of breath out here, coach.
Oh, that it must be your lung filling up with blood.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
You'll be fine.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. So
Oh boy.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, going back to the Marty Bennett talk, it has been interesting the way his season has kind of unfolded to this point. He's had some huge games, monster games. I think he had a 3-touchdown game.
Right.
And then he's had other games where, I mean, he's also a beast blocking. So the dude, he's definitely added a lot to the team. I think much like Gronk, I mean, he can give you a lot. So, but it has been interesting. You would think, like, I don't know, you never see a game where when Gronk is healthy that he would be used in that capacity only. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to see Marty being used exclusively almost in that fashion, it makes you wonder, maybe is he not at 100%? I mean, no one's who's at 100%, but
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it seemed like there was a couple games early this year where he was kind of used in a blocking capacity as well.
Yeah, I thought he was dinged up at that point. Point though, too.
Maybe so.
I don't know.
It just seems like they're
guessing.
game plan dependent. That could be a situation where it's like we're going to be run heavy this week, or
right.
we're going to leave you in because they have, a bunch of sick edge rushers, and you're going to be chipping them or double teaming them or whatever. But. In BB we trust as far as that scenario
that we
goes. Do. It can be discouraging at times. You have Patriots on your fantasy team, but what are you going to do?
Speaking of trust, where is your trust level right now with Mr. Steven Gostkowski?
Oof.
Now, granted,
where is your trust level with anybody in the league?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, what a bizarre historical day.
Yeah.
On Sunday, what was it? What was the final number at on missed extra points? It was off the wall. Was it
12, I believe?
That's insane.
11 or 12.
Granted, it's a different play now, and in our game we at least had the wild weather.
Yeah, it's like it makes you, on a week where we're here on this particular show, particularly giving thanks to being. Patriot fans. And so we get to cheer on a weekly basis for the greatest to ever do it as a quarterback and the greatest to ever do it as a coach. And, but on a wider level, why don't you as an NFL fan give these thanks to old BB this week for making that great extra point suggestion?
It's now a competitive play, thanks to the guy.
It sure is. And it's, it was something I used to fast forward, past. Not anymore.
It was a goofy afterthought kind of play. And now, I mean, certainly after this past weekend, we see that it is not.
Yes, it's pretty crazy. It makes it interesting. And, if you have, degenerate gambler friends that are doing squares every week like mine are, it makes it a little interesting when the numbers come up, too.
It's pretty true.
Kind of extra drama.
Don't want no drama.
Just to put a little button on the MASH unit down at Foxborough. 2 guys didn't practice today. So we saw the Gronk was limited at practice, as was Marty B, as was Chris Hogan and Julian Edelman. But not practicing Tom Brady. So I don't really want to get into it. I mean, could this be some of the quad issue from the Cam Chancellor hit a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean...
He'll be out there.
He's gonna suit up and play.
I mean, he just played 4 quarters, so yeah, you would think he'd be out there. And Matthew Slater, who was seen after the game in a walking boot the other day, is a right foot injury. I can't remember the actual play, or even if it was, but there was one play during the game on a kick return, I believe, where some scrub wideout who plays special teams for them, Rod Streeter, dove at his legs. He got a flag for that.
Yes, he did.
But I saw Slater after that still in the game as
Yeah.
like a gunner on a punt. So it wasn't that.
Trying to
because I
pinpoint
thought
it.
initially that might have been it, but I couldn't pinpoint it going back. And
You never know. It could have
watching
been
in
that.
slow
It could have
advance.
been that, and then his internal bleeding got the best of him, kind of
I
sitch.
guess so. He was running pretty well though. But that would be a guy I'd like to get healthy as soon as possible. He
Yeah.
would be missed as much as we've lauded the. And they had another good game, the special teams units, this past weekend. Definitely setting up the Pats in good field position. I just really like having the, if it's not Edelman, it's Amendola back there, and you get to go to, a reliable veteran back there. You see some of these other teams. They'll have a young kid back there, and he'll be making awful mistakes. He'll be catching punts on the 5. He'll
Yeah.
just be making
Much like
awful plays.
Much
It's
like Cyrus at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Although he was back there at the end of the game, which was interesting.
Cyrus is coming along a little bit.
He's coming back. He's starting to get out of the doghouse, or at least what seemed like he was in the doghouse for the majority of the season at this point. Yeah, we'll see. It'd be, just with the secondary the way it is, at least at corner, things still don't seem all that settled to me.
Well,
at least where you'd like them to be. Rowe has definitely been getting the start the last few weeks. So
that's another thing. So is Logan Ryan kind of another doghouse guy? Seeing this,
I mean, he had seemed like he had one of his better games last week.
Yeah, maybe because he got a little fire lit.
Yeah, I mean, but he's kind of more in that nickel role, or the third corner role essentially. So, I mean, Butler's clearly your top corner, and Rowe is now. I don't know if it's a body thing or matchup thing, but yeah, Logan. I mean,
Yeah, and
he's making his presence felt though.
Yeah, I mean, he's his little
A little
Jekyll and
streaky,
Hyde.
yeah, a
Sometimes
little
he
bit.
shows up, and sometimes he doesn't.
It's true.
I was wondering a little bit, like, what do you think? We talked a little bit about it earlier. The absence of Jamie Collins. It seems like now, like where, as before, you kind of sick him on a good tight end. Now that's kind of fallen towards, Patty Chung. Patty Chung was always in the mix, but now you got like McCourty kind of trying to be in that mix too. And
Right.
He gave up one of the touchdowns to that Vance McDonald touchdown.
Yeah, Vance
He was in
McDonald
coverage
looked
on that.
like Gronkowski out there at
Little
points.
bit.
He had a pretty solid game out there for them.
Yeah.
Pretty solid game by Vance. Yeah, I mean, I think that is an area where, I mean, you saw our boy Landon get scorched a couple times, and then
He did.
yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see where and how they fill that void. So, I mean, and that's a problem throughout the league. I mean, these tight ends now are just matchup nightmares for guys. These guys are generational talents. I mean, no teams have two of them like we do, but
Right.
you see the resurgence of Jimmy Graham. There's just some tight ends that are just
Jimmy
they're
Graham.
impossible to match up with. So you have that, like we've kind of talked about it to death, but you have that rare athletic talent like Jamie Collins. He's the kind of guy who he can run with running backs, and the dude is a monster. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see though. We're just kind of back in a more traditional setting where you got.
Can't stop the run though. He couldn't stop the run.
It's true.
That's the knock.
It's true.
That's the knock.
Getting hung up in traffic, man.
Speaking of gigantic receivers that can pose a problem, we got the Jets going to the Jets this week. They have one of their own, and Mr. Brandon Marshall.
That they do.
He'll get his guy back this week, Ryan Fitz, after the very comedic quarterback situation down
Yikes.
there is unfolding.
Bryce Petty.
It's like Bryce Petty. Well, then they bring Gino in. Gino gets hurt right away, and so now what's the deal with Bryce? Did he come in a little bit and then he got hurt?
I don't know what his deal is moving forward. I know Fitzmagic is back in the fold, so
It's
we'll
crazy.
see. I mean, I always liked Fitzmagic except for his tendency to just throw a million picks, which doesn't usually.
I
The
mean-
fact that he's been in our division long enough, I'm not mad about
No,
it.
I
But
love that.
if you're a fan of his team,
Wearing a Jet uniform.
yeah, exactly. But it'll be interesting to see, and also Forte coming into town, someone that we kind of were taking a flyer on and pursuing. He would
Yeah,
have looked good in a Pats uniform.
he does. He's got some Curtis Martin in him, I think.
Yeah, he seems like a solid dude. He's having a pretty decent season, quietly on the.
And Bilal Powell, they kind of mix it up a little bit. I mean, where they've been kind of suspect has been their defensive secondary.
Right.
And So it's like put the spotlight on one Mr. Darrell Revis in that one, former Patriot 2014 world champion.
How's he doing monetarily these days?
Yeah, he's doing fine. He's doing fine. And the Pats are doing a lot better because they didn't give him any contract. But, that's because we don't do that. But he obviously has taken a step back. I mean, Bill today obviously was kind of doing his usual lauding of the opponent, saying how that's one guy I'm never underestimating. Never underestimate that guy. That's cool. And they have some behemoths on the defensive line.
Yeah,
I really expected the Jets to be a lot better this year.
I did too.
3-7?
Yeah, they are 3-7. Okay. I was in the same camp. I thought they might be the second best team when all was said and done.
Yeah, didn't they win 10 games last year?
Yes,
9?
it'll be an interesting. I mean, it's not quite a half. We're already further into the season than that, but the last 6 games, it'll be interesting to see how things shape up.
Zach, what do you think about the Jets' chances this week? See if Zach's, got his ears on. Our producer Zach's a Jets fan, so he's probably back there on eBay, just waiting for the show to end.
No doubt. I do like Todd Bowles, though. I like that. I mean, it was just such a contrast from the all nonsense approach of Rex to the no nonsense approach.
It's
of
pretty
Todd
funny.
Bowles.
It's good to see. Hey, have a nice taste of adversity here in your second season. Welcome to New York.
Pretty true.
Well, New Jersey. I mean,
Jersey Turnpike.
The
Turnpike's finest.
New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know. The Jets always. I wouldn't say scare me, but I think it'll be a better matchup than you would think on paper. It could be I don't know what the spread's at.
I'd be interested to know that. Also, call up maybe. Let's talk about those Thanksgiving Day matchups. Get some pretty good ones there.
Absolutely.
Call up those spreads as well. On the injury report for the Jets today, not practicing. Big one on there. Offensive lineman Nick Mangold. He did not practice. He's got an ankle injury. I don't know if he's been healthy a lot this season, but I know he's a integral part of that offensive line. Obviously, the center makes it all work. Some other big names on there. Forte with the knee, great hair. He was a full participant in practice. So,
9-point favorites, the Patriots, or 8.5 elsewhere.
Wow,
8.5, 9
at the Meadowlands. I don't like that. I mean, I love home dogs, especially when they're getting over a touchdown. So, I'm obviously I'm not. I couldn't bet on my team. I would never put my mushness on the Patriots. But it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to get overly confident, but, I've seen the Jets play a little bit this year, and it seems like they're looking forward to golf season.
It does seem that way. It does seem that way.
So
I'm trying to get a second opinion on that spread.
Yeah.
My internet's kind of in second gear here, though, and not getting into third gear.
We got to give that
7.5.
Mouse on the wheel some cheese.
7.5.
7 hook sounds a little more plausible, but even still.
Yes.
Maybe 9 was the opening line, and everybody's jumping on the Jets.
As far as tomorrow, since you brought it up, and it's America's favorite holiday, Thanksgiving.
Yes. My favorite, anyways.
Yeah. America.
I mean,
Mike
food
Conley.
and football. And, America. I still love it.
Me and America may not see eye to eye these days.
Hey, you still love it.
That's right, I do. In other things, American, tomorrow we'll see the Vikings and Lions in a more intriguing than one would have thought at the beginning of the season NFC North matchup.
You know what's very interesting is that...
What's that, Mike?
29 times on Thanksgiving game, there's been at least 3 games. Okay? And tomorrow will mark the first time that all 6 of the teams participating have winning records since 1935.
Wow.
Is that pretty incredible?
How did that weekend work out?
Was that
one of your favorites?
Let me see.
Or?
That was, I think, our 4th show.
Yes.
I mean...
1935.
You were just a wee lad.
I remember it well.
Indeed.
But yeah, what do you think about that game? Vikings Lions?
I mean...
A little bit of intrigue there.
I kind of grew up a little bit as a Lions fan. because they always played on Thanksgiving. I couldn't like the Cowboys because everybody liked them. And I love the silver and blue of the Lions. I just love their uniforms.
I love that. Their throwbacks are among the best throwbacks as well, by the way.
And Billy Sims doing it, and then the other 20 after him. Sanders, it was like, man, that was like my NFC team. And, you know, they never could, like, kind of get over the top.
It's nice.
I used to love it when they wung it around with, like, Herman Moore.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those guys, and Johnny Morton. And
it's nice just to have a game that means something with the Lions in it, number one. And on Thanksgiving, a lot of time, it's kind of a...
Yeah, it's usually them dragging it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Lions, but, like, oh, maybe they'll rise to the occasion.
But they're tied for first right now in the old NFC North.
This will
both
be
at 6 and 4, yeah.
In the NFC North, this will be for first place. It'd be interesting to see because the Vikes, I mean, they can't protect the dude. They can't score. It's like all kind of defense. But the defense that was kind of, causing a bunch of havoc earlier in the season, then kind of took the last couple of weeks off, it seemed like. They were back last week, and they got some more pressure on the quarterbacks. I would like to see that. They had 2 return touchdowns, 1 on a kick, 1 on an interception return. Pretty good for my fantasy team.
Yeah, buddy.
So I need them together. But, 3 good matchups. Unfortunately, Andrew Luck has been ruled out now for the nightcap. So that might be a yawner in that one with
Colts Steelers.
Old Scotty Tolzien taking up the he of Wisconsin, Nebraska.
I don't remember.
I'm getting a Big Ten school with a red jersey. It's one of those.
We can have our fact checkers look into that as you spitball.
I will that research department.
Yeah, that's UW. You had it. University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Boom.
Boom.
No big deal.
Just not as good throwback uniforms. The Steelers, those hamburger uniforms.
Terrible.
Yeah, vomit.
Some of the worst in all of sports.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
But that'll be the Steelers, and that game's in Indy?
That game's at Indy, 5:30 p. And
this is about the time when old Ryan Grigson says, maybe I should have brought Matt Hasselbeck at a 1-year, $5.5 million.
And much like the other stuff we hear him say, we just ignore it and move on.
Grigson?
Yeah,
Or Matt
guy's a
Hasselbeck?
hammer. Grigson's a hammer.
Yeah,
Redskins Cowboys, probably the most intriguing game of the day.
That's a big one because I mean, if the Cowboys win that one, they can pretty much run away and hide in that division.
They look good.
Seems like
they're definitely the team to beat, and maybe the team to beat in the league, other than your New England Patriots.
It's a very interesting because everybody's kind of like on the Cowboys nuts. Obviously, they're 9-1.
Proverbially
can understand
speaking.
that proverbially and not in the biblical sense, but just really, slurping them, to no end.
Yes.
But if Washington beats them tomorrow, they're kind of right on their heels.
Yeah,
and
the
Washington's
Giants
been playing well. Giants have won like 5 in a row. That division's no joke.
It's all every year.
And it used to be the NFC least. We call
You just
it
never
that for
know
years.
who's coming out of that division. I feel like every year it's a dogfight.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the year, everyone thought the Eagles had it figured out, and now they're in the basement in the division for the time being. But I think
What are
it's
they,
still
5-4?
5-5. Yeah,
5-5.
the Redskins are 6-3, the Giants at 7-3, and then
Interesting.
they're all chasing the Cowboys at 9-1, leading the NFL.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day of football tomorrow. I'm going to take it all in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself.
Between some turkey legs and stuffing,
Maybe a couple of Guinnesses.
Hey-oh.
Yeah, a couple intriguing matchups though.
It should be interesting.
It's gonna be a good day.
Anything else you want to say about Thanksgiving? Any memorable performances over the years? You're not going to see the Latin English game this year.
No Latin English game. I have a hunch, having not even looked at the
this
records.
Be the 128th meeting,
somewhere in that range. Yeah, I mean, we could look that up.
I believe I went to the 100th meeting.
Really? Good for you. 28 years ago?
Yeah, I think I was like a 60. That's about right?
Did you play in any? Oh no, you had moved on at that point. I was on the sidelines as a sophomore. I was on the sidelines of what must have been the last loss by the Boston Line. It was not a good day. It was a very
really?
cold
Last loss,
week.
They beat English every time since?
Yeah, and probably 15 times before that.
Wow.
Yeah, they haven't. Let's see. Oh, they lost in 2013.
Oh,
Well, who knew?
interesting.
14-12. That's
Certainly
embarrassing.
not you. You obviously weren't in attendance.
No.
Way to support your alma mater. You'll miss them.
I mean, I was probably out here.
When your alma mater turns into a Chinatown
Looks
YMCA,
like-
you'll miss it.
Looking at old Wikipedia here, it looks like during my tenure, we put a 34-6 beating on them as well as a 42-20. And those 20 points were probably garbage points.
I mean, City League football. I mean, that's not exactly something
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
puffing your chest out about. Anyways.
But
Oh.
hey, you know, good memories. Those were good memories, though. Thanksgiving,
question.
high school football.
Oh, so good.
You didn't realize it at the time how much you would look back and, you know,
Looking back.
thought we'd still be playing on Sundays, guys like you and I. But you know what I mean? History had a different
And,
plan for us.
Beer came along and
Had different plans for us altogether.
Craziness.
But yeah, I always liked the holiday. I always liked the football and the family and the food.
Definitely. The
All
F's.
good stuff.
The F's. Indeed. It'll be fun. So we appreciate you tuning in, gang, with us. We hope you guys have a fun and safe Thanksgiving. You know, just eat a ton of food, watch a lot of football, and cheer for your favorite team, the New England Patriots. And give thanks that is our team to cheer for. Imagine how bad, like, Browns fans have it. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, for Denny Harris, I'm Mike Conley. This has been another edition of Patriots Wrap 360, gang. Thanks for tuning in with us. Go Pats. Happy Thanksgiving.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.